Halo Infinite is still a letdown 4 months after its quote-unquote release. With the lack of game modes, the lack of maps, horrible customization for free-to-play players like myself, egregious store, confusing as hell choices for balance, melee sucking, desync, broken custom games, and a crappy XP system, I don't think it's going to get a lot better from here. However, none of this is for the campaign because as of writing this, I have yet to play it, so I literally cannot say a single thing on it. That being said, multiplayer is a mess, and before I get into the negatives, I will say my positives, so that if anyone at all at 343 who will more than likely not see this, can at least know that they did something right in 6 years and a delay. When Halo Infinite works, it feels amazing. The guns feel great, the gadgets you get feel great, and the movement feels fantastic, minus clambering at points, but overall, it's just smooth. It feels like a Halo game. It doesn't feel cartoony and overly movement emphasized like Halo 5 was, regardless of this game's T rating. And you guys actually made Sprint viable and not a complete mess in Halo, which was something I was personally worried about, but you did amazing with it. And the sound design in this game is amazing. The music's great, the guns feel amazing, and including with the feedback you guys got for the Needler, I'm glad you implemented it to sound more crystally. The customization options are way more than any other Halo before, but if I could do anything with them, that would be cool. And lastly, just the gadgets, aka the grapple shot, repulsor, motion sensor, the other one that isn't coming to my brain at the moment currently in this time, just are a great addition to the sandbox of this game. And that's all that I have to say if that's positive about this game so far. Full disclosure, I am running this game on a 1050 Ti, so my general frames per second is around the 34 to 38 mark on all low settings. So if some of these are hardware issues, I'm willing to take that. If some of these are skill issues, I'm also willing to take that as well. But a majority of the time, it doesn't feel like either of them. But this is going to be a list starting with the least negative thing to the most negative things in my eyes. So starting off, we're going with petty shit. Also, editing me will address new things that 343 may or may not be talking about, or have talked about, or have implemented in the time that it takes me to finish this video. So yeah, we're just going to go on with petty shit. The UI sucks sometimes to navigate and has so many menus to go through just to change like one little thing on my helmet. Also the fact that when there's a 3-second countdown on matchmaking, I can't go into any other menu until it's done. And even when it's done, sometimes I'll go into another menu and it'll still stop. And all of the reach armor just looks off to me. It's not just the colors that look unlike the original game or this fact that some of it is just untextured for whatever reason. It just feels slimmer or smaller. And it might be the way that the Spartans look with Mark 7 and the Eurocore, which they do look good, but the Halo Reach armor just doesn't look correct even on the core. On top of that, a lot of the helmets for Mark 7 just don't look good. Again, this is petty shit section, so take all this with a grain of salt, but yeah, some of them don't look good. When loading into the game, this might be a hardware issue, but the Battle Pass takes way too long to load, so does the armor hull, so does the customization of anything. I also don't like the weapon lockers in the middle of the arena spawning in either like a heat wave or a shotgun, because challenges exist. I'll get into that more later, but it's really difficult knowing which ones are in play each game and if you need to leave the game or not to get the challenge for the gun that you need. So yeah, and I think that's pretty much it that I have for petty shit. I might add in more later, but that's all I have for now. This has got to be the worst feeling XP system based on how RNG it is with its challenges. The system itself sucks dong with getting a challenge for 400 XP where I have to capture/secure the flag 7 times and hope to God that no one else does, because if they do, it won't count for me. On top of the fact that even getting the game mode itself is built on hopium. You need 1000 XP to level up in the Battle Pass, and only the Battle Pass, because we don't have a separate leveling system either. On top of that, you can only do 3 at a time, so if I hit a roadblock such as getting 7 flags captured, and hoping I even get the game mode itself, I can't progress until I complete that, or I just sit there and play a match getting 50 XP regardless of doing good, bad, godly, or complete absolute dog shit. So some of the challenges are game mode specific, like BTB ones, as I like to classify being hard game mode specific, and then soft game mode specific, where you need to get a challenge by using the Wasp. We'll hope you get launch site on Team Slayer or Quick Play, then just play BTB in general and hope no one takes the Wasp from you. Then you have weapon-specific challenges of getting 10 kills with a sniper, but then you load into live fire and it's actually a skewer in the middle, or you load into live fire again and it's a rocket launcher. It just feels bad. Weapon challenges are mainly just mandatory for playing Fiesta, so RNG weapon spawns on maps don't fuck you over. And other combinations are if you need Bulldog kills but the Heatwave spawns, or you need Commando kills and the BR spawns. It just doesn't feel great, and you can get roadblocked extremely easily, especially if you don't have a challenge swap from the Battle Pass, which I will get into the Battle Pass later. But when they finally added free-for-all SWAT and Team Slayer as choosable modes, free-for-all was broken and didn't work with any of the challenges. It only tracked like 2 people per match when there was about 6. So in these clips that I'm probably playing in the background, I had a free-for-all challenge. It didn't track, so I go to swap it. It swaps out to another free-for-all challenge. I swap it again, and it's the same one that I just swapped 2 swaps ago. So then I swap it again, and it's BTB, wasting 2 challenge swaps because the game wouldn't give me anything else free besides free-for-all, and free-for-all didn't work. Granted, BTB also didn't work for about like a month and a half, and people were still getting challenges for that as well. Granted, it was working for me, so I could do some of them, but not all of them, because sometimes it didn't work either. So you can say all you want, that the system wasn't designed for people to buy challenge swaps, but holy hell, does it really feel like it was. By limiting how many challenges you were able to do at a time, making them game mode specific, and incentivizing challenge swaps if you get a shitty challenge or one that is complete RNG. Yeah, it really does feel like you're incentivizing me to buy one, with credits that I just can't just buy a certain amount, but I have to buy a bundle. And events, on the other hand, kind of suck, because you can't farm them if you want. You have to do 7 challenges in a week, which are RNG again on what you get, like stop killing sprees. Not to mention the fact that these event challenges are also in between all of the normal challenges too, so you might not have all normal challenges, or you might not have all event challenges. You might have 2 event challenges and 1 normal, or no event challenges that you have to get through the normal challenges to get to the event challenges. But yes, let me wait for my enemy to do good and hope that I kill them and that no one else around touches them to complete a challenge to hopefully either get a better challenge, a really shitty item like a challenge swap, or an even weirder challenge. What I find even more offensive is that there's an upcoming challenges menu where I sit here and ask, why can't I just complete them right now? Why can't I just have access to all of them and be able to farm all of them on my own time and not be forced to play game modes or use weapons? It just feels awful. Especially since events, I just can't complete them, but all have a gimmick, like the Tenrai event, having to wait for weeks of their choosing to do only 7 challenges to progress 7 tiers out of 30. The Christmas event was better. You just needed to play every day, just 1 match a day, and you got an item for it. Fracture Tenrai, you need to wait for someone to do really good, stop their killing spree about 4 times, and you get 1 item, before and after the changes of the free event pass as well. This section as well might belong in petty shit, because I might not know entirely good things about balance, but I do have a lot of questions. However, again, there are just some choices I don't entirely get when it comes to the weapons in this game. Disregarding the Commando, Ravager, and Pulse Carbine, because those 3 kinda just suck, maybe minus the Pulse Carbine and the Commando when the game works. But I do want to talk about, the vehicles, the Bulldog, the rocket launcher, the plasma pistol, the shock weapons, and the melee weapons. So starting off with the vehicles, the Banshee is just hilariously weak. The Wasp, in comparison, is just ridiculously good. The Scorpion is a beast, but just controls horrendously on PC. And then the Wraith is alright, I guess. I haven't seen or played with it because nothing spawns ever, and when it does, it's generally on the enemy's side and it's completely asymmetrical. And it gets annoying to deal with it, but other than that, the rest of the vehicles are fine, as long as it just doesn't give an asymmetrical spawn later on, and BTB is kind of better. Now, the Bullpup just feels very inconsistent. Sometimes it kills in 3, and then sometimes it misses or just doesn't do enough damage when it should. But then that can also be applied to a lot of things in this game. But it's just not as powerful as the prior game shotguns, and isn't really a counter to the energy sword anymore, which, hoo boy. Now, the rocket launcher feels very inconsistent a majority of the time, but then another majority of the time it feels amazing and just kills everything. Because sometimes people will shoot the rocket right next to both of us, but they'll stay alive at like a dick hair of health, and I'll die when it was right next to them as well. And then sometimes the rocket will just straight up disappear. It's not fun. And then sometimes I'll die, but they won't, and I shoot it closer to them than I ever shot it to me. The rocket launcher just feels very inconsistent in this game. Now, the plasma pistol just exists, I guess? It doesn't have a place, ? Because it doesn't stop vehicles anymore, but it still drops shields for BR combo or pistol combo, but it's not consistent or really good at tracking anymore, so it's just and it's just a weapon in the game that you probably could have just replaced with like the grenade launcher or the Spartan laser or anything, because there are weapons that just drop shields kind of faster or don't even need the plasma pistol to have a really good TTK, like the assault rifle or the BR if you land your shots. So it just doesn't have a place? ? Speaking of weapons that drop shield, what is with these shock weapons? Because they aren't meant for killing, but also don't do their job well. Because the disruptor applies a damage over time, but it doesn't feel like it does anything unless the shield itself is already down, but even then it doesn't kill. Because in the flight, I remember it being a lot better. Like 3 shots and then the damage over time would apply, not 6 and then it would apply. But sometimes it doesn't even hit, but that also might just be because of desync. And the shock rifle just doesn't kill unless it's a perfect, or do damage apparently sometimes, even though I can, see that it's clearly hitting them. And the whole gimmick of the shock rifle is to shut down a vehicle, now that the plasma pistol also can't do that, but sometimes it doesn't work, even though I'm hitting them. It's very confusing. Now, one of the other biggest issues I have is with the gravity hammer and the energy sword. Because, oh my fucking god, they're most broken pieces of annoying garbage in this game. Because first off, there's this thing I like to call a dueling mechanic that's been in every Halo since. Which allows someone who's fighting against an energy sword and doesn't have one the chance to not instantly die if they melee them at the same time. But since it doesn't exist in this game, the energy sword user will live every single time at no health or a pubic hair of health, regardless if you melee at the same time. And comboing the energy sword with a grapple shot just makes it even better and more annoying to deal with, especially with the fact you can't duel with it and you have to hope to god you have a power weapon to counter it, or you can, become a god for like 2 seconds and hope you don't die within those 2 seconds while they're lunging at you. Now, the gravity hammer, on the other hand, feels great, minus the lack of oomph it has, but it also has the same problem as the rocket launcher. It's very inconsistent, but very good when it works, because sometimes it kills from a million years away, and sometimes it won't even kill when I'm giving them a kiss on the goddamn lips. And then there's this whole counter mechanic, where I'm pretty sure I'm just going to show this clip, but I'm getting punished for meleeing back with the gravity hammer after my opponent misses. And it also uses the gravity hammer's energy. So it didn't really damage them. It's a quote-unquote counter hit, but I'm still getting fucked by them again regardless, because they can just hit me again instantly. I don't understand that mechanic. Either it's a really shit mechanic, or it's just something that shouldn't happen. I'm going with the latter. Now, the last thing I want to say is with the shields, because they're very not good at telling how much damage someone has taken compared to literally any other game in the series, bar 5 maybe. But some dude can be like completely bright red or bright whatever color that you choose for them to be, but it's like they've taken 0 damage whatsoever. So if you start shooting them and their shield doesn't pop, it's like, okay, looks like you already took damage before. Why aren't you popping your shield? It's very weird. It's either inconsistent or it's just not well done. We used to have the thing where when the shield pops, everyone was blind. But that's gone now, but the shield still isn't entirely fixed, at least in my opinion. But yeah, that's really all I've got for balance, and the energy sword and counter hit stuff pisses me off. I kind of don't know where to begin with this, because to me it's all on the same level of bad, because the customization in this game just sucks, but not because of the amount of options, but because the amount of restrictions and options a free-to-player has is depressing. Even after the promise of a million different customizations on day one. Well, day one was 3 months ago, and it's still not a lot. Customizing your Spartan is based on a core system, so if you unlock something for one core, you can't use it on the other. So if I get Tempest Lilac on my Mark 7, I can't use it on my Yorai core, because it has its own set of coatings and colors and color combinations that I can't put on the other one if I don't have it. And with the coatings, I cannot change any color or position on them whatsoever, because that isn't limiting enough already when you remove the forced red and blue colors, only to force us into a coating system where you charge $8 for basic red and $7 for basic blue on one core only. Not only does free-to-play have nothing to unlock as far as, well, anything, the Battle Pass gives one helmet, some shoulders, and a couple colors and stances for free. I might not have gotten everything, which I will just put it into a list on the screen now. However, that's all you get unless there's an event that hopefully your challenges don't suck. Or they just give you something ad nauseum from the free random shit, like watching their Twitch. What if you don't have time to watch their Twitch? Like me. Or what if you just don't get the random drops that they give? Or you don't have Xbox Game Pass to get the free shit off of there. Other than that, there are some preview items in the armory that say stay tuned for more details, which hopefully doesn't actually mean it'll be in the shop in about a month for about $10, because that's where a majority of the items are going to be, including reach items that the battle pass is themed around, when not even all of the Halo Reach items are in the game. Then Reach items will appear in the shop for about $8+. So making my Halo Reach Spartan is actually impossible as of right now. Probably cost around $10 to $50+, 10 at minimum for the Battle Pass, and a random amount for whenever they release, I don't know, the Gungnir helmet, and then the collar breacher with a prosthetic, because who knows when they're going to release that, or the trauma kit pad, or the tack pad on my arm. Who knows when they're going to release any of that, and for how much money. So editing me here, I'm a little wrong. They did add the Gungnir helmet. However, it's on the Mark 7, not on the Mark 5B. Also, it looks kind of stupid. Also, its attachment doesn't get colored. Also, speaking of attachments, why do most of the chest pieces cover up the emblem that you put on your chest and are also just gray? Just a question. The more I look at it, the more pissed off I get. Especially since, the Gungnir helmet is part of a whole set of armor, and that's like $12, or $14, and it's gone, so I can't buy it, nor did I plan on buying it ever. So that kind of sucks. And also, it just looks kind of dumb. Also, it's not on the Mark 5B. Yeah. Also, I was wrong. The tack pad is in the game. The collar breacher is also in the game. Yeah, still kind of dumb. It's in the game, however, in a really stupid way. So, yeah. Because also, the shop is on a rotation system with no catalog, so you see the Anubis armor set that a lot of people really like for $20? Well, if you don't buy it then, who knows when it'll ever come back. And you see some shoulder pads from Halo Reach that you love? Hopefully it looks correct and not untextured or missing what made it look cool. Cough cough, commando. On top of the fact that you can't cross-core, but the bots can, and the main reason is because of clipping armor. However, the armor on their own specific cores let pieces of them clip inside of each other. Then we can look at the bots who are cross-coring, and they're completely fine. So, what is the reasoning now? Because including with the new attrition events, the items are also off-center. So Mark 5B helmet on a Mark 7? Never. Or even just a shoulder pad? Never. Because cores. So that they can monetize the same color 3 different times and charge $7 for each. And maybe 2 other items you could give even less of a shit about. But hey, You want to keep your chest piece on your Mark 7 looking really cool with that knife and, the shotgun shells on it or whatever chest piece that you want that looks cool on it. But you also want those pineapple grenade attachments from the shop. Well, you're going to have to go back to the default for the pineapple grenades if you want those on, or you won't ever have them on. Kind of sucks. Take it or leave it. And the battle pass for free to play is kind of dog shit, where it's just 2 challenge swaps and then a random item for your Mark 7. But hey, if you level up to a tier that unlocks a helmet like Jun's, you can still see it as if you unlocked it by leveling up, because other than that, you get nothing else if you level up to that tier. Also, what's with the rarities? Is it only for the shop to price stuff like a legendary armor set being $20, but a rare set being like 10 or so? Because other than that, the rarity system is just a useless classifying system for items, mainly because if it comes out of the battle pass and it's legendary, it doesn't really mean anything because a legendary shop is $20. So would that mean this item is worth $20, but it's not because you can get it for $10 and just play the battle pass? Then what about the random items you get out of a free event? Why are they legendary? You just play the challenge and get them. It just doesn't make sense. Why not have it all be common because everyone can get it out of the, event? To me, this whole system is just egregious and sucks for someone like me who can't just dump money into something. Like, say, Gungnir, again, my favorite Halo Reach helmet, just drops in its store only. I won't have the money to just drop and buy it. I can't impulse buy it, and I don't advocate impulse buying anyway. And then, in a week, it's just gone. Or even a day. It might just be the helmet that's sold, and in a day, it's gone, and I can never get it again. Even on top of that, there's more things that suck in customizing. Your emblem, you can't change the colors on it. You can choose an emblem, and then you choose the colors that they have preset for you. Unlike pretty much every other game before that, you get to make your own emblem. In Halo Reach, I made a, kind of screaming ghost. And here, I have to choose preset emblems that they made and then choose colors for them. And then maybe, you can buy one in the shop. That's like $5. Or I can unlock one in the pass. But I can't make my own. They just monetized it. And finally, I just want to be purple. I want to just be purple. I don't want the weird scuffed up purple that only Recruit Purple on Mark 7 has, or just having the gray bits on it, or the pastel purple with other colors, like Tempest Lilac. I just want to be purple and black. Fuck, just monetize the finishes, like a matte finish, candy, gloss, metallic, whatever. I just want to be purple, without this other gimmicky shit on it, please. And give me more options than just these 2 helmets on the Mark 7. Events are good, but timing them to challenges that we can't even farm because of the system I talked about prior is kind of insane. And locking them behind a week-by-week thing that you guys choose when the weeks happen, that sometimes people can't even participate in once, when it's already right there in the game to unlock, on top of other things just being in the game already to unlock but hasn't been in the shop because you guys haven't allowed it. It's just annoying and just, it sucks. Just change it or something. So desync might be the issue for balance, or it also might not, but it feels like a majority of the time my shots should land, but they aren't. And I'm not adverse to my own fuck-ups, like all of these, for example. But sometimes it just feels like it should be hitting on multiple occasions, and it just ruins games pretty easily, and sometimes I don't even know what's happening. Now, I'm used to ghosting. I played Rainbow Six Siege for crying out loud, and, got really angry at some of the deaths that shouldn't have happened in that game. However, dying around corners and shots not landing is kind of the worst, and there are multiple upon multiple clips of people experiencing it, and this video kind of just demonstrates it in its entirety. And on that note, I don't think there's anything more to say about it, except just fix it, or fix it the best that they can, because obviously you can't stop ghosting, but please just fix it. And as of writing this came out. Thank you for acknowledging it and explaining things, and not just giving one comment on Reddit and also just not, saying things in general about it. I also really shouldn't have to thank you for this, because it should have just been done and or tested and or fixed before launch, that even people in the flight were complaining about, but that's another topic. In the meantime, melee in this game is just god-awful. minus the melee weapons sometimes. However, when it lands, it doesn't land. And that's kind of majority of the time. It's extremely inconsistent, which is what I could call this game instead of Halo Infinite, Halo Inconsistent. Whenever I get the noise of the melee landing and it just straight doesn't land, it feels awful. And is this to do with the player collisions you said weren't turned off for enemies but for allies, but also at the same time people are walking through me and walking through a lot of other people? So, I mean, sometimes it's rare, granted. However, it's really more uncommon to rare, but it still happens. And is this something that happened on your end? Because to me, there's no logical thought process on our end besides what did y'all do? And why did you turn it off for allies? Because it also kind of ruins shots, especially when someone walks through you as you're shooting a rocket launcher or just anything and tanking your shots. So why? What pain point, as using your own words, was it mitigating, or what of the previous 7+ Halo games were you trying to prevent? Because now you can't do cool shit like this. And moving away from that, please just give us XP, or something else that's besides the battle pass. I know you've been talking about it since the flight, but getting rewarded 50 XP after every match for the first 7 just doesn't feel great. When I go off, I want to be rewarded. And if I suck complete ass, I don't want to be rewarded the same amount as the guy on the enemy team who beat my ass. Because having to rely on challenges sucks. Because as of right now, you guys have added, like, nothing to the game besides cosmetics that are in the store. And if the Yorai armor that was in the trailers was already in the game, you still really haven't made anything. All you've done is finally give us, the choice of game modes that we want to play. By adding, free-for-all, SWAT, Team Slayer as a choice, instead of just quick play, BTB, and customs, which that is still broken. I don't know why it hasn't been touched or fixed or added upon. But at least I'm not getting oddball 24/7 now, and map-wise there's like 9, even in the game. And after 3+ months, we still have 9? It's almost like Destiny 2, where you never get a map in 3 years. Which I believe this is also the least amount of maps a Halo game has launched with. And after 6 years and a delay, where you guys were apparently making 5 different games at one time, where's the live service of this live service game? Question mark. It kind of just pisses me off that this is technically your 3rd or 4th time making a Halo game, and you did go back to the foundations of Halo. Like with mechanics, and then modernized it, which I appreciate and you did amazing with, in my opinion. In 343, I was not this disappointed in Halo 5. I still enjoyed my time with it. I hold the same sentiment with it as RE4. It's a Halo in name and title, but it doesn't feel like Halo in the whole experience. Please just do something, do your jobs. If that's too harsh, I'll apologize for specific things, but not the general message of what I'm saying, because some of it's just too much. I'm tired of it. A lot of people are. Gameplay's great when it works, but the whole experience around it just kind of sucks.